Welcome and welcome back. Today we are discussing A Quiet Place Day 1. Would you and your cat survive a quiet place? I don't know. I don't think me and Moselle will survive. I'm not really sure. But let's get into the review. So, A Quiet Place Day 1 stars Lupita Nyong'o as Sam, a terminally ill cancer patient in hospice, and her service cat, Frodo, who, while in New York, is thrust into the middle of an alien apocalypse. Along with other survivors, they try to find safety and quickly learn that they must remain completely silent because the alien creatures are drawn to sound. Later on, Sam meets another survivor, Eric, played by Joseph Quinn. Eric is an English law student who escapes a flooded subway station and encounters Frodo, following him back to Sam. Despite Sam encouraging Eric to go to safety, he continues to follow her, and they quickly develop a bond. So, I have been seeing some mixed reviews about this movie on Rotten Tomato. It has a 73% audience rating, which is actually pretty good. But on Google reviews, it's at a 2.7. So a lot of people, weren't feeling the movie from what I've seen. So, one of the main criticisms of this movie is that it didn't focus on the origins of the alien creatures. People wanted to know how it started. They wanted to see how people initially reacted. They wanted to see the initial military response. And while I do understand the need for more information on the creatures, A Quiet Place movies have always been more character driven. It's more focused on humanity. So perhaps they could have named this movie something else. Maybe they shouldn't have named it Day One because moviegoers have certain expectations if that's going to be the name. I also feel like A Quiet Place Part 2 shows the beginning of the alien apocalypse already, similar to this movie. It just focused on another part of New York and the original family. Another criticism that I saw was that Sam focused on getting the pizza while there is an alien apocalypse happening was a silly, a silly part of the story. And I saw that people didn't get it or they didn't like the motivation. So I can understand people not liking that motivation. That's fine. But what I don't understand is people who didn't get it. It's explained pretty clearly in the movie why she wanted to get this pizza. So Sam's quest to get pizza from Patsy's in Harlem was more than just about getting the pizza. She had an emotional tie to Patsy's pizzeria. Sam tells Eric later on in the movie that she used to watch her father play at a jazz club in Harlem. And after his set, they would go to Patsy's to get pizza. So Sam's father also died of cancer. So the pizza shop represents her father, it represents happiness, it represents comfort, and she was dying and she wanted one last thing before it was time for her to go. So it's something that Sam always wanted to do before she died. So that is the reason why she was focused on getting that pizza. And so again, I don't understand how some people didn't get that aspect of the movie. Again, I can see why people were like, I don't like this as the focus, but like I said, it was pretty clear in the movie why she was hyper focused on getting the pizza. So let's get into specific scenes that stood out to me. So the scene where something blows up in the beginning when they're in New York, I'm not sure if it was the military shooting or if the alien ship got shot down. I'm not really sure, but Sam and the others are walking around and they're covered in ashes, and it reminded me of videos and pictures that we've seen of 9/11. So that was something that really stood out to me. I was also impressed that people seem to learn really quickly that the creatures are attracted to sound, and so they were able to adjust by trying to be quiet. In another scene, I think they were hiding in a theater, and Sam's cat Frodo runs away when there's another explosion, and Lupita runs after him. Would you run after your cat if that happened? I don't know. I was thinking about that. I think I would run after my cat, Moselle, if if that happened. So the nurse who was with Sam comes face to face with the creature. And baby, I would have been terrified. I would have been shaken. I might have ended up dying. Like, I would have died right there if that creature was like right in my face. So the nurse does end up dying a couple of scenes later when the generator comes back on and the monsters hear it. So there's a scene when they're on the roof, and Jaimun's character, please excuse me if I'm not saying his name correctly, I believe it's Jaimun's character. Henry is trying to quiet a guy who's hysterical, and Henry slams his head into the wall and he accidentally kills him. So Henry's son, he sees this. And that's a really tough scene to watch because I understand why the man was hysterical, but I also understand why Henry ended up killing him. And I'm sure that messed up Henry, for killing a man for the first time, and then your child is seeing this and having to deal with, seeing all that trauma. So we then learn later on that there's a mandatory evacuation out of Manhattan. They're supposed to be evacuating to South Street Seaport. So the crowd is walking together, and someone's bound to make a noise because everyone is just, all together. It's all crowded. And, chaos ensues because there's a noise that happens. And so the monster starts descending on everyone. And so later on in the movie, we meet Eric. I guess he was holding his breath on the water, or he maybe swam up from the subway. So he sees Frodo, and Frodo looks so angelic. Eric follows Frodo back to Sam, and it's like Frodo was his guardian angel. So Eric is following Sam, and at first I was like, "Sir, if you don't stop following her and get gone." But basically, during a disaster, humans may have a natural inclination to have a human connection, and I think that's what Eric represents. He is alone in the city, and he needs someone to latch onto because he's scared, which is understandable. Eric is also in shock. And also, we noticed that Frodo the cat had a lot of plot armor. Now, as a cat lover, I wasn't mad at it. I was rooting for Frodo. Frodo was able to hold his breath underwater for a long time. The water didn't affect him at all. He was able to find his way back to Sam. Another scene, the creature opens up what looks like an egg. It looks like they were eating the egg, and I wonder what that scene meant. Like, they eating their babies? Is that what was happening? So if anyone knows, can you leave it down in the comment below, because I was a bit confused by that. So finally, they make it to Harlem and they go to Patsy's, but it's gone, which isn't surprising. So she can't get her pizza. So Eric comforts her, and this is really sad because it was her one dying wish and she couldn't get it. So they go to the jazz club that her father played at, and Eric starts to step up. He goes to get another pizza at another pizza shop, and he writes Patsy's on it for her, and he gives it to Sam. And I know that this is a movie, but how did he get a perfectly whole pizza pie with no dirt or dust on it? So I know that pizza must have tasted terrible. But beggars can't be, choosers. And then the scene in the jazz club, I thought that was really heartwarming. And so there's a plan to get Eric and Frodo to safety. Sam is going to stay back because she's coming to terms with the fact that she is going to die. So Sam sets off the car alarm so that Eric can swim to the ferry with Frodo. And so the ending scene is of Sam walking around, listening to music, and she takes out her headset and the preachers can hear it. So Sam is able to go out on her own terms. And I did like this aspect of the movie because I'm very pro being able to die on your own terms. Um, it would have been nice if there was a movie that focused on Jaimun's character Henry. Henry was in A Quiet Place Part Two, and I was interested in his journey prior to this, so I think I might have enjoyed the movie more if it focused on his family. All right, so this part of the video is for the cat lovers. So Frodo actually was played by two cats, Schnitzel and Nico. And I just want to say they did a really, really good job. I love that they showed the bond between Sam and Frodo. Sam had mentioned before that Frodo is her service cat, but there are no service cats in New York City as far as I know. So he was more of an emotional support cat, and he did his job. Not only did he provide emotional support to Sam, but he was working overtime with Eric. So I just want to shout out the two cats that played Frodo because they did a fantastic job. All right, so I am going to rate this movie a 3 Scream Queens out of 5. I thought it was a decent movie. I wasn't expecting it to be so sad, but that's okay. And hopefully, the next Quiet Place movie does give us some more background information about the alien creatures. All right, folks. So, what did you think about A Quiet Place Day One? Did it live up to your expectations or were you disappointed? Leave your comments down below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Bye.